right?
This performance is over. Medical staff with me. Guards, secure the scene and detain all the performers. Seal the exits. No one is allowed in or out at this time.
Yes, that's right. If this was just an accident, then
No need to be alarmed, you two. We'll get to the bottom. Unfortunately, apparently the fire, as of now, and after an initial it appears that and there are many.
That's the case that Charlotte mentioned before. I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Linney, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearances.
Huh? Why me?
Oh, this all occurred during your magic show, did it not? Now that I think... That can't be... He was in the box on the stage the entire time! Besides, before the show, he told us they would like to...
Save discussion for a later time, please. Lady Farina, may I assume that you're...
I just... But what Lady Farina said...
A kidnapping...
I mean... That's right. I mean you, Traveler. You support Linny. But with Linny... So, no more draws. Between the two of us, there must be a clear winner and... It wasn't a...
I understand. Well, Traveler, seems Lady Farina... Are you willing to act as Mr. Linney's... Very well. Linney and his troop are... The audience may begin to leave in an orderly fashion...
A day isn't that long.
Sorry about everything that happened just now. Were you frightened?
Of course! Who wouldn't be scared after witnessing an accident like that?
Yeah, I'm a little shaken up myself. How could this happen? And poor Cal. I know you already claimed that you would defend me, but now it's just us talking. Good to hear. I'm sure everyone sees me as the big... I don't know whether what happened there on the stage was purely an accident or not. And I don't know why poor Cal was in the box. As for how that girl chosen from the audience could suddenly disappear, I'm afraid I don't have any answers either. If someone tampered with my performance, then we need to figure out what they did. Even a skilled and knowledgeable magician like myself couldn't pull all that off in just 1 minute.
Which is precisely why we need to investigate! As this book says, the impossible could not have happened. Whatever happened must have been that which is possible. Paimon bought them when we were reading at the bookshop in the city earlier. Pretty cool, huh? Don't worry, Paimon used her own savings to buy them. It wasn't from our travel funds.
I think they look cute on you, Paimon.
You have good taste, Lynette!
That's the right attitude. Feeling depressed isn't going to help me now. I need to get back to my normal self. But with the guards watching our every move, it's going to be especially difficult for Lynette and I to prove our own innocence. Good thing you agreed to be our attorneys. Thanks for that. We'll be counting on you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, just leave it to us. Oh, since we're going to start investigating, Paimon has a question first. Where did Lynette go during the performance?
Ah, well, I'm afraid that would involve some of our essential trade secrets as magicians.
The secrets behind our magic are past saving, Linny.
I suppose you're right. The truth behind our tricks is going to be important evidence that will be weighted during the trial. 'Tis truly a pity. As a magician, our magic show is a work of art. We've poured countless hours and spared no effort in perfecting it. But if revealing our secrets will help you uncover the truth behind what happened, then it will be well worth it. We should go somewhere else if we're going to discuss our magic tricks. We'll go speak with the guards, and in the meantime, you can go investigate the stage and the seating areas.
Alright, let's go have a look while the investigation teams are still here. Detective Paimon is on the case! Hello, officer. How's the investigation going?
I see. You must be the traveler that Lady Farina mentioned. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'd avoid getting mixed up in this whirlpool of a mess if I were you.
Huh? What do you mean?
Come with me and you'll see. The deceased is one of Linny's assistants, named Cal. Even though he hadn't joined the troupe, the assistants are usually in charge of setting up and inspecting the props, as well as assisting with the show. As you probably saw when you were in the audience, the water tank suddenly fell and smashed the box with... This is the real mystery. We've already... However, if you look carefully, the box was positioned directly under the water tank. The ropes holding the tank were then burned by the pyrotechnics on stage. All these factors lining up so perfectly makes it hard to see this as a mere accident. If anything, the more logical explanation is that the whole incident was intentionally planned.
But he doesn't have a motive.
Are you both good friends of his?
Well, you can't say we're good friends.
So in just a short time, he was not only able to win your trust, but even... I know there's no such thing as magic. The real trick of a magician is holding the audience in the palm of their hand. I've seen a lot of cases, and I can tell you that people are the least reliable kind of evidence. Sorry, I tend to be pretty straightforward. Just know that I'm warning you for your own good. Anyway, you may investigate the scene of the crime yourselves if you're curious. Who knows, maybe you'll be able...
So this is the rope that broke and caused the water tank to fall. The rope looks pretty durable. How can it be burned through so quickly by fireworks? Why are you suddenly so serious, Traveler? Whoa. Look! This bit is made from different material! Most of it was burned away, but there's still a little bit of it left. Huh. So if a rope meant to hold something was made with that kind of material... Wait! Why don't you write all this down? Whoever the murderer was, they must have made this rope.
Oh, this location has also been cordoned off because the magic troupe the seats were all booked in advance. So we were able to deduce the missing woman's identity by checking the guest list. Sure, it's not like this is confidential information. We will Her name is Halsey. She's a painter from Fontaine who's made a bit of a name for herself. Apparently, she wasn't a regular at the Opera House, but she'd been feeling some pressure with her work lately, which the magic troupe members all claim not to know her. We have looked into her social connections. It seems that she has no person. Simply put, she wasn't related to the magic troupe at all, which matches the features of the previous serial disappearances.
Were the victims
That's how it seems to us, in any case. Apart from the fact that they were all young women of around the same age range, there really weren't any other...
Okay then.
No need to be so formal. If you do happen, it is of utmost importance that we get to the bottom of these disappearances.
The investigation team has some new findings. Turns out there's an issue with the...
See, I told you. What if the machine picked some big guy's seat? You think the murderer...
Sorry to interrupt, but we're helping Linny and Lynette with their side of the investigation.
You're trying to help them?
Linny used the machine to pick a random member of the audience during his performance, right? Well, we thought there might be a serious problem with the machine, so we had it taken away for further inspection.
It turns out that the seat number it picked wasn't random at all. I'm sure you already know that you have to make a reservation in advance to get a seat, regardless of whether... In other words, Linny knew who would be sitting...
That much checks out.
Bet you see why I was saying it'd be tough to make a case for Linny.
Even though it's bad for...
I see that you're investigating the area. If you find any new and interesting leads...
We don't have too many thoughts yet.
Then why don't I tell you my hypothesis first?
The thud? Oh!
Yes, exactly. It wasn't terribly loud. It's just that everyone was awaiting the results of Linny's trick with bated breath. So no one paid it much mind.
That makes sense.
I'm of the opinion that it may have been the sound of Linny's accomplice. Lynette, perhaps. And when the pyrotechnics went off, she cut the rope.
But wasn't the noise we heard...
Perhaps the balance wasn't right, leading to a particularly rough landing. Oh, that's true. I suppose I must reconsider.
That does remind...
Linny's still talking to the guards. I think someone will be assigned to monitor us later, but that's alright.
Hey, you! Yes, both of you! Over here! I've been keeping an eye on you for a while now. Huh? You mean us? That's right. If I'm not mistaken, you're also among those who wish to cut down the thorns and pursue the truth. No? And by the looks of it, you're not from Fontaine. Well, you're right on the mark about that one, but who are you? Have you never heard of the Spina di Rosula? From mediating disputes and providing protection to solving conundrums, you name it, Spina di Rosula does it. And I, Navia, have the honor of being its renowned president. Though those who play by our rules call me boss.
I'm Silver, her attendant. Pleased to meet you.
And I'm Melus. Demoiselle's various daily needs and affairs are under my purview.
Huh? Boss? Demoiselle? What gives with the names? Well, I am the second generation president. Melus and the others are still used to my previous title.
My apologies, Demoiselle. Should you prefer, boss, I will endeavor to use that instead.
No, no need. You don't have to call me boss. Just Navia is fine. Okay, if you say so. Not that we're members of Spina di Rasula anyway.
All merely trifling details. Never mind. Now, back to the situation at hand. That's right. I've always kept an eye on the serial disappearance cases. My interest stems from a matter back from my father's time. Judging from the look of things, I find Linny an unlikely mastermind.
Really? We think so too! That's why we're looking for clues now! But how did you come to that conclusion?
Intuition, naturally. My unparalleled intuition. Farina sure was quick to point the finger at Linny without any decisive evidence whatsoever, wasn't she? But that's not uncommon for her. If you remember, the Justice had to interrupt her and ask if she was pressing charges just to keep her from getting carried away. Anyway, a trial begins the moment someone levels charges. And, of course, there was no way Farina was going to back down in that situation.
Sounds more like you just don't trust the Hydro Archon.
Well, what's your opinion? I must admit that she can be interesting at times, but liking her doesn't mean that I'll blindly agree with her. All right, I've answered your question. Now, it's time you answer mine.
Wait a minute! Did that answer count?
Well, I say it does. But don't worry, you won't hear any pointless questions from me. In your opinion, do you think it's right to treat a trial like it's an opera?
Well...
And why would that be?
Most astute of you, demoiselle. I too think that the traveler's response was most excellent. No matter how wonderful the script or how fervent the audience's expectations may be, the trials that go on stage here must be based in fact. And if that can be done, boss, then...
All right, that's quite enough, Maloose. Anyway, I like your answer. You passed with flying colors. Now, I need to make some preparations, following which our joint investigation shall commence. You two shall be my assistants.
Wait! Since when did we become assistants?
Well, I can be the assistant, sure. Or your companion, if you like. I'm really not that fussy.
That's more like it.
Far be it from me to brag, but I believe that Demoiselle's intuition will be instrumental in uncovering the truth. You wish to save a friend from false accusations, and we wish to unravel the disappearances. In this sense, our goals are aligned.
You have a point. You're quite the talker, aren't you, mister? And what about you over there? What do you think? You seem like you've got something on your mind.
I have nothing to add.
Oh.
We'll be making some preparations first. Just be sure to let us know if they start revealing Lenny's tricks.
But no one can freely enter or exit the Opera House at the moment. If you wish to leave, you must register your identity with us first.
No, we're not leaving. We're representing Linny and Lynette as attorneys, so we're investigating the case. Were you always guarding this entrance?
Yes. After the Chief Justice gave the order, everyone coming in or out must undergo a strict inspection. So, the missing girl couldn't have left from here. At least, not from that point on. I doubt there was much opportunity then, either.
How can you be so sure,
Well, because I was in charge of security near the entrance at that time, I couldn't see Linny's performance from here, which was quite a shame. Just my luck. But still, I did not abandon my post, and I stayed put no matter how loud the applause was. If someone had so much as even approached the door, I would have noticed it, let alone if they had tried to leave. We Melusines are good at that sort of thing, you know.
So, it's safe to say the girl couldn't have left through here. Alright, thank you for your help. This'll be useful info. We've checked everything of note here. Shall we? Ooh, things are getting interesting, huh? We're about to see how magic is made. Let's go somewhere cooler. Faster, life goes on.
Squall and Fury!
Understood. Then I will be going with you. Just so you're aware, I will be monitoring your actions and making notes as necessary.
Very good. Thanks for being so agreeable. I'd pull a rose out of my hat as a gift for you if I could.
You may spare the pleasantries. I'm just doing my job.
You've arrived. Who's this?
Me? I'm Spina di Rosula's guardian angel. If you've got a problem, I've got the firepower. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Call me Navia. I'm a partner of theirs, and will be helping investigate this whole situation. And these are my companions. Would you mind if they join as well?
Fine by me.
Oh, new helpers? I would be most grateful.
Well, let's just say we're tagging along. It's not every day you get to see the secrets behind magic performed on such a large scale.
I appreciate your kind interest. Come with me. We'll be heading below stage.
Huh? Below stage?
Yes, a world of secrets is hidden beneath this magic box, prepared specifically for this switcheroo trick. But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here? I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all that go?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back? You mean the inside of the door?
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get? Exactly. All right, let's go.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box!
I knew you'd figure out most of it. The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the 2 entrances of the tunnel. See this flat? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be...
So that's how you did it!
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps. The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect. My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And, by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who. And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow, every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last!
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending. And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would. But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off. And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime. Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
What's this?
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh?
Perhaps it was a prop for a dip.
Whatever it is.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Speaking of which, why?
Oh, Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you... And here's a broken vase!
That can't be. Oh, these are the clothes. Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
Right! And do you... Ugh, this is so What is this place?
It seems someone could fit through here.
Alone, perhaps. But if...
But there are no other ways in or out of here. Oh, you're right! Let Paimon write that down. Seems we're just about done investigating down here.
Yes, let's head back up. Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. Seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement. The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then! You know, like the kind you usually see in novels!
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable. No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Linny and Lynette.
In other words, the charges are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Charges and then trial. So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear statements from both sides. That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the Oratrice. To put it simply, it's as if the Oratrice has its own will, and is a judge in its own right.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the Oratrice as a reference. Then, finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides?
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment. Ah, yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to...
Huh?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties. Or that we might... And even if that were not so, it could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information.
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa! There's no need for that!
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too. I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all. Just kidding! Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome snacks soon enough.
These three are quite the interesting group. And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven! Oh, it's even better now. Paimon, from the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself! Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything!
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Paimon was just thinking, aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a try, fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Only 3?
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit. No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between and the tunnel. resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
True. None of the clues but the only people left to consider are both technically victims. Whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The guards said that she has never had any...
Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp and super sweet!
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest!
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough. Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? How could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach!
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might... Malus, set up the stove again.
Huh? What?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Exactly. We don't want to...
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and all.
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
All right, thanks for your help and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
All right, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense ready for the trial. Oh, it's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare. Here, take Paimon's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Relax.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing. Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation?
To be honest,
No, we're already very...
Well now, don't you all look disappointed. That was to be expected, of course. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most...
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box, and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean... Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the... Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth? The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent, after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off. Hey, Linny, why didn't you...
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true? Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Vatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear you.
Of course. I'll answer any We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a conscience. During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to which should have been impossible, of course, I was That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown... After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously... Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
too slow.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
Ugh, that took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linney red-handed. So Linney proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linney experienced and what he saw. Seems this won't produce a particularly effective rebuttal. Seems this won't... Linney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth. According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Linney did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath.
action! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners. Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything straight. This means that when the crime happened, the same clue you used to disprove his alibi.
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person involved? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. The deceased's name is Cowell.
That can't be right. Are you serious? Oh, is that...
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left the opera house through its... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. No one entered or left. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. The sound we heard may have come from a... No one entered or left the opera house through its entrance. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. No one entered or left... It would have been tough for both people. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble
I see how it...
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3... And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know...
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come from a clash. The deceased's name is Cowell. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to cover important evidence. The water. It would have been tough for both people. The vase was not broken by chance.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together of how... Lynette escaped from the water tank vent. If there's a similar method where a person could... How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Must we really? Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line... Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a...
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional... Guards, please step into the lounge.
We are still examining the items, but we have already We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's... Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic. Guards, please Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can...
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
The deceased's name is... Lynette was in the magic box on stage. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. The water from the primordial sea should already have... Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism. The water from the primordial... The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks and snapped. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. I remember there was something else within the inner...
It's aced in the original plan. Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope, and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh.
That actually links together a lot of...
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I...
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remained. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me. I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage and we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
What?
That can't be.
Does this not, my dear citizens? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice but upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, am I right, Miss?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the end?
Oh no. I can't think of... seems using the water as new evidence was too good. I think we've all seen enough now. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble chief.
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout. And
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a... I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. What in the world is...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Linny and Lynette, give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made but as the magic makers and stars of the show.
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I...
That'll teach you to
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before, but I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look for... Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lily-Ann's perspective. Seems this won't The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily-Ann. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but it was smashed. Lily-Ann was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time.
And it's Ace! Having been selected out of the blue, Lily-Ann panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lily-Ann had not dissolved. He did not know that Lily-Ann was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lily-Ann back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lily-Ann came out on top. With no way of escaping, she changed her cloak.